Hello, I'm Rayan, and I'm a faithful.
I'm Will, and I'm definitely not a faithful.
And I'm Kyle.
And tonight we debrief week 3 on a Traitors UK. Welcome to episode 40 of It's Just a Game. Hello and welcome to episode 40, 40 guys. Yes, if it's just a game, the podcast where we watch reality TV so you don't have to. Every week we go over the crazy strategies, the maddest moves and the hottest takes on your favorite reality TV shows. And this week, you probably know by now, we've been there, done that, got a t-shirt. We're back to discuss the Traitors UK Series 3. My name is Ryan, and I'm currently training to be a peacock on Series 4 of the Traitors UK. Oh, that was such a good peacock impression. Oh my god, this is so good. Well, joining me is the man who has two career choices. One is pretending he's a peacock. The other one is pretending his favourite player of the series is named Kyle. It's Ivan. Hello, Ivan.
Ivan, listen, I have an apology. If I may just step away from my two friends and towards the microphone here and speak directly to you, Jake, from season 3 of The Traitors.
Cue sad music.
I was a young boy when I first realised that I couldn't remember anyone's name ever at any point. I have many times in my life called, for example, my girlfriend the name of my ex-girlfriend. I have called my best friend the name of my other best friend.
My ex-best friend.
I've forgotten people's names while introducing people to other people. Names are my enemy. And you, Kyle.
I'm my enemy.
His name is Jake. I'm not my enemy.
Did you accidentally call him Kyle again?
In apologising to Jake for calling him Kyle, I did just call him Kyle. So hang on, let me step away from my apology to another apology spot with even louder violins. Jake, I'm sorry. Jake, please forgive me. I'm so sorry for calling you Kyle. I will never do it again. Your name is Jake, and I think you're great.
I'm not particularly sorry, but just to be clear, because everyone spent the entire week in our comment section asking who's Kyle and roasting you about this. So
clickbait.
But I would also like to invite the comment section to determine what your punishment for this should be. Obviously, this cannot go unpunished. So please, in the comments, you suggest what Ivan needs to do next week to redeem himself.
I know the punishment I'm going to get. Crushed by an enormous stone penis.
Well, I've got a game, and then we can guess that person's name. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and we have to guess that guy's name. Right?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Kyle.
Kyle.
I'm not sure what the name was, but okay. Are you just saying names, Wilf?
I'm just shouting out. I'm trying to play Leanne's game that names. I played.
Oh, sorry, Mina.
Simon from Series 2. But let me introduce him, actually. The man who's been entirely ghosted by Harry from Series 2 since he offered to do a boxing match with him. That's Wilf. Hello, Wilf. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm a bit sick today, so feel sorry for me, people.
Yeah, sick of people running away from the boxing games they said they would do.
Oh, shut up, Ryan.
I'm just here to stir. Anyway,
he's gonna punch you in a minute.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna punch Wilf, so he might as well. Now we're entering a spoiler zone, so if you have seen episodes 1 to 9 of the Traitors UK, you can stay here. If you have not seen these episodes, there will be spoilers ahead. If you don't care about that, because this is the podcast where we watch reality TV so you don't have to, Ivan is here to summarize the whole thing for you in no less than 46 minutes. Ivan, you're good to go.
Oh my god. Okay, episode 7. The finale of the deathmatch card game is... pick a card. We cut to breakfast where Linda says she wouldn't mind if Mina voted for her at the round table. Foreshadowing. The 4 death game players are missing from breakfast, and the mission is to go and collect the surviving 3 of them in a sort of coffin treasure hunt. Flashback, and we discover that Leon is the best at picking up cards, and Fozia is murdered face to face. Mina is brilliantly camp. Everyone who survived the game is suspected a little, but Anna now suspects Mina because she carried her drink. Anna's onto something. Meanwhile, Linda draws so much attention to herself at the round table. Alexander thinks it's Leanne and Mina because of the shield claims on the night they recruited. Leanne feels patronised by Alexander's questions and gets super heated. But as foretold by the clever edit, Mina votes Linda and the second traitor is banished. Jake is delighted and branded a traitor hunter. Mina must recruit by ultimatum. She chooses Charlotte. They meet at the fire pit where, episode 8, Charlotte accepts, of course, it's an ultimatum. They murder Anna, who was suspicious of Mina. Interesting choice. The mission is a spooky backwards doll song replication quiz. Jake eviscerates a bear for a shield, but mostly for fun. He keeps it mostly secret. Alex tries to reason about Linda not voting for Armani and therefore not voting for any traitors, but Joe asks how he knows who all the other traits are and thinks he's caught him in a lie. It's a great bit of logic, except that Alex isn't a traitor. Everyone centers in on Alex at the round table. It's butchery, except Lisa, who pokes both Charlotte, ting, and Mina, ting, directly between the eyes, as well as Leon, wah, wah, who's apparently changed since the death match. Leanne and others agree, but Alex is banished and the others are bereft. Freddie suspects Mina, but Charlotte plans not to tell her. In the tower, Charlotte considers murdering into the shield despite the risk. Episode 9, they don't risk hitting the shield. Lisa is murdered. I was going to say she didn't see that coming. She's not a fortune teller, she's a Christian. Charlotte starts dropping Mina's name into idle badminton traitor chat while Alexander falls in a bush, and Mina wants to go to the end with Charlotte together. This could be tragic. The mission is an Easter Island head reconstruction. Freddie gets a shield. Leanne takes her own head up the hill, and Charlotte and Frankie think it was selfish, then deny they said it was selfish, which upsets Leanne. Joe is upset about everyone's upset about giving Freddie the shield when it was supposed to suspect him. Leon and Jake go against Frankie, but Frankie accuses Mina of only ever jumping on theories. She has to defend hard. We get worried about Mina, but it's Leon who's banished by one vote over Frankie. The table is shocked, and then Claudia invites them to a dinner party. It's an emotional scene where they discuss how they'd spend the money, and then in the round table, the traitors decide between Jake, Joe, and Gian. And that's where we are now.
You're on mute, Ryan.
Ryan's on mute.
It'll be just an improvement. A little bit.
Oh, God, that's so deep.
Look, clearly a strong week again. There's so much happening in this series. Honestly, it's just, there's too much going on, too many moves. Let's take it back to the beginning. Let's take it back to episode 7. Fozia is murdered. Now, we've talked about the game last week. We knew how this was sort of going to go. Ultimately, it's a game of luck. We get this really nice camp moment, the whole get over it. It's all very funny. But what I want to stop there for a minute is the metagaming. I think there's an interesting bit of metagaming that comes out of this moment, because they all, the next morning, assume that one of the 4 must be a traitor, because in the past, and admittedly they're right, that's what happened in Series 2 with the whole dungeon, other traitors have tended to put themselves in jeopardy.
But not in Season 1.
Yeah.
Not in Season 1, where we all assumed that was the case and they didn't. I don't know, actually. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's as good a guess as any, right?
I just don't understand why they think, and this is so silly because I was in the castle thinking they must have put one traitor into the 3 on trial. But I don't understand why they think that has happened in this one, especially because at the end of the trial, the traitors had a decision to make. Whereas at the end of this one, it seems like it was just, as you say, a game of chance. The social deduction element of picking the sun from amongst the moons dripped out. And in the last 2, it was just luck. And I don't think that would have ever happened, that the game conspired to mean that a traitor could be eliminated by chance. On learning what happened that night, when they did the silly coffin task where they had to find all the living players in coffins, I'll say that again, living players in coffins? What? And when they pieced together the game and realised that it ended up being a game of chance, I think they should have then gone, okay, never mind, there probably wasn't a traitor in that. In fact, I think these people are probably exonerated. I don't know.
It goes back to what I say, though, what I said last week in terms of they have no evidence for anything, and it's just something that they can cling on. If, say, for instance, you're a faithful and you don't want the heat to be on you, you're going to look for any kind of excuse to go, oh, maybe there's a traitor in there, just to sort of put the focus on the 3 people that came back.
Okay, so it's mostly displacement, you think? It's just that more people weren't in that task than who were, so they all wanted to say it's probably them then.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, mate. I really like that.
Yeah, and Claudia potentially caused that, and saying, "Oh, the players could be traitors or faithfuls," when realistically probably not. But I think Claudia maybe let them astray a little bit there. So it's not a completely illegitimate suspicion.
Yeah, I'm going back to what I think would have been really fun there, which would have been the 2 surviving players put down their cards, and it's like, now you're going to put your cards on the table in a different way. The traitors walk up, they unmask, both players in the remaining in the game see the traitors, and they have to like do a Survivor style 1 minute to sell themselves to the traitors. One's recruited and one's murdered. If that was the case and one was a traitor, it wouldn't have been a problem, because they would have just recruited, I'm doing inverted commas for those who aren't watching on the YouTube video, recruited the traitor who was already a traitor and murdered the faithful who was already a faithful, and then the poor faithful would have been like, well, this was for nothing. That for me would have felt really satisfying and a fun way to be like, cards on the table, kind of, I mean, I'm good at card puns.
Love that.
I like a good card pun.
Love that, but at the same time, I'm loving that we're not seeing as many people recruited this year as last year.
Yeah, for sure.
I think if we had that, it would have been another traitor.
Well, that would have been interesting. Can we take a moment to, as well, just think about like poor Alexander, like in their mission, when they actually go and dig them up. For starters, there's guys in the middle of a bloody lake in a coffin on a boat. But I'm not sure why.
If you're a Viking, you do it and then you fire flaming arrows.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. You stole it. You stole it. I've been watching Vikings and that's what they do. So I was like, no.
Yeah, the notorious the Vikings of Inverness, notoriously. Yeah.
Well, lucky Will wasn't there. Well, look, it wasn't season 1. He'd be like, right, get out the bow and arrow, burn this thing to the ground.
You know what? The thing is, we always talk about your job doesn't really impact the game as much as people think it does. But in terms
What do you mean? As a translator, I'm great at reading people.
Yeah. But in terms of being a conflict resolutionist, whatever job role actually is that what it is? It's not.
That's his official job title. Conflict resolutionist at the Foreign Office.
He's called a diplomat.
Well, leave me alone. A diplomat. But anyway, when he come out and he wasn't shook, if you know his job role, which I'm sure they do, you'd just be like, okay, he's just used to being in really mad situations. Like, he's just calm. He knows he's not going to die, right?
But then people actually accuse him of being too calm and collected. Yeah. What's the reaction? And then they quiz him because he didn't recount everything in like every little detail of like who got which card at what point, and what the humidity in the air was, and what the temperature was, and the air pollution in Inverness.
Before, they just heard half of it before, so he only had to say his part, and they were like, why didn't you go from the beginning?
It's because he said something like, well, okay, so say I had to go first and he didn't go first, and they were like, well, why are you talking in counterfactuals or something? Oh, it was really, it's like, it's so funny.
Poor Alexander. Can I just say, Alexander has really grown as a character for me this week. He is generally, I have loved him. Great strategist, good at a round table.
Wonderful. I have a man crush, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll have a bit of a man crush. Although I do think that probably means he's not making it to the final. I'm actually surprised the traitors haven't murdered him yet, because he is the definition of the traitor hunter that they all say Jake is for some weird reason that we don't see clearly.
Well, he caught Linda, but
it's because he has that constant suspicion on him, right? So you're going to leave him in. But at the same time, if I was a traitor, I think I never ever want to go against that guy in the round table, because he's a danger. He's too articulate for me as well. So he would just outweigh me and make me look shit. So
you have to go before the end.
Yeah, I would have murdered him ages ago, to be fair.
But can I go back a second to something you just said to Ivan a few moments ago, when I was wondering why they keep acting like Jake led the charge and is the traitor hunter in that castle. Like, look, I get that he made a point about Linda turning her head in the first breakfast, but then made nothing with it for another 6 episodes. Then she moved a lot more mad, did a lot more things that puts suspicion on her. And I'm not sure, like, he can claim that title of traitor hunter. Like, I'm sorry,
no,
like, he hasn't been. No,
it wasn't exactly a 360 no scope, was it? It was like, it took a few days. But he was the one leading the charge on Linda. It just took him a little while to get to speed, and I think that's fine. Look, you need to have a traitor hunter in the season. If anything, this puts him smack dab in the middle of everyone's suspicions. But yeah, no, okay. It wasn't like he was just getting pot shots all over the place.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not willing to give him that title.
Wait. But the guy, you know, when you think someone is a traitor, you have to go in that table knowing you can get enough numbers, right? Or you get murdered. So maybe he did that. But then Jazz made the fatal mistake last season by holding on to Harry's name for way too long. So, but luckily Jake didn't hold on. Well, he held on to it for very long, but he got out at the right time.
Well, he held on to it. He had a very fine grasp on it, and if there was a little bit too much wind, he would have dropped it. But yeah,
I'm going to say thank you to Jake. Because of Jake, Linda was in for quite long, and we got some amazing comedy moments. So
that's some really good moments. Can we take a moment to just think about Linda? I mean, honestly, Yes, they got her. Yes, it was inevitable, but she delivered moments in a way that a true mother can only do on the Traitors.
Yeah.
And I love Linda. I wanted to reserve my singular clap for something else, for someone else a little bit later, but Linda, thank you for your service to British television and arts.
No, what's that one that they play? That what they do? No, because that's
a national anthem, mate.
Who can say? Oh, hang on. The last post.
Yeah, that's the one.
You're listening to Trumpet FM. In a few moments, we'll be getting Ivan's rendition of Concerto Number 6 on the baritone tuba.
Oh, the baritone tuba?
I don't know. I don't play the trumpets.
No, clearly you don't play the baritone tuba either. Let's move on to a singular. We didn't do the singular clap, Rayan, and I need the singular clap.
I wanted to give the singular clap for somebody else, though. Oh.
Well, I have to say that, we at the beginning did our little prediction about who would be what of the season. There is now no question that Linda is the mother of the season. It's not been a very motherly season. In fact, the most maternal person's been Francesca. But the mother of the season has to be Linda. There is no question about that, unless something drastically changes in the next 3 episodes.
No, I'm afraid I agree, and we'll get back to Francesca in a minute.
Oh, will we?
Now, the other bit I wanted to talk about then is the recruitment, the big thing that happens. Obviously, we see Linda go out. It's time for somebody to be recruited. First question is, Mina picks Charlotte. I personally think that was single-handedly her biggest mistake in this game. This will be her downfall. I think she went for somebody who's actually quite a strong traitor, who's always wanted to be a traitor, and she couldn't really have known that, but she could know that from her personality, perhaps. She's somebody who would have probably been in quite a rush to backstab her, and we really see her drop these crumbs early on, these invisible biscuits. We start seeing her move already a little bit mad in a way where we can feel that backstab coming. And to me, that just shows that, Minna made the wrong decision. She should have asked, who's least likely to be in a rush to backstab me? And she somehow ended up on Charlotte. I'm not sure. Wilf, what do you think?
I've got 2 things to say about this. I always think the best way to recruit now is to recruit for weakness, recruit a weak faithful, right? Or someone that you can throw under the bus. And with Charlotte, she's seen as a very strong faithful. She recruited her. But the second thing is, she's never going to... I think it's really hard for people to be recruited and actually want to play the game with the person that recruited them. So at the moment, I'm really upset because I feel like it might be Mina's downfall. But at the same time, I'm that's just how the game works. And for me, I want a traitor to go from the beginning to the end and not somebody sweep it in and take everything at the end. Because they've done the hard work for 7, 8 episodes. And then all of a sudden someone comes in and backstabs them. So I'm a bit upset about that. But at the same time, Charlotte's just doing what she thinks Mina might be doing.
But she isn't. Mina's actually so trustworthy. We see that contrast at the end of episode 9, which is so frustrating, of Charlotte being she shouldn't trust me, I wouldn't. And Mina being I can trust her, we're going to go together to the end.
But we're seeing that, but she's not getting that at all.
Yeah, but I think what I'm saying is that this is genuinely breaking my heart. I don't normally root for the traitors, but here it was just you can see what's coming. It's just you can see it from a mile away, and obviously Mina can't, and it's quite sad, that contrast. I don't know. Ivan, did she make a mistake here?
I think that Charlotte was a good pick if you want another traitor to win the game, and clearly she does. She wants to find someone else to build a sisterhood with to go to the end of the game, and I think that Charlotte was coming across intentionally in the first 7 episodes, or however many, as somebody who you could really trust, and that was clever play from Charlotte. She was playing a Traithful, right? She was really trying to be the most traitorous faithful she could, so that as soon as she flipped, she could do what she needed to do. If you look at the other possibilities, I think we can all agree it was the right thing to pick a woman.
Yeah.
Lisa and Leanne both could have been good, but if I look at those two, I just don't know how realistic they'd be as a traitor. I'd worry that Leanne would crack. I worry that Lisa would feel guilty. Francesca, now there's a pick that I might have gone for. I really think she could have been a very good traitor, and she would not have made it to the end. Yeah. That's a traitor you'd have been joined with for about 2-3 episodes, and then she'd go home. That to me feels like the best value pick in terms of I want to win the game. This is my recruit. It's not something I'm going to get rid of next episode, but it's someone I will get rid of before the end of the game.
That's the timing you got to aim for, actually. You got to think about the fact that if you get somebody you throw under the bus too soon, then you're going to have to recruit again and do this all over again. At that point, you probably want somebody you can recruit that's going to stay 3-4 episodes, just enough that you don't need to recruit again. You can make it as a sole traitor to the final.
Yeah. For me, it's like you look at like what Ivan just said at the other players who you'd avoid. Like imagine, I think Leanne would be the person who's so invested in being a faithful. Right. That she'll be really, really pissed about it. I don't think she'd like it at all. And you feel like you've probably ruined the game for her. That's probably how she would feel, I think. Like, because I know there's other people like Kieran, for instance, right? Kieran was so invested in being a faithful. When I made him a traitor, he was really upset about it. And because he played the whole game as a faithful and didn't want to be a traitor. But ultimately they were looking for a man as well, so I felt like I had to get another man, and I just feel like Aaron wouldn't have had. I thought he would have been stronger than Aaron, but hindsight's a thing, isn't it?
You just don't know what someone's going to be like as a traitor. You haven't gone through the entire recruitment process where you've seen whether these people are actually fit to be traitors or actually if they were recruited to be faithfuls. And in a way, you've got to make those decisions on the fly. You've not been able to see if someone's a good liar because everyone's trying to show the face of being super, super honest and faithful the entire time. No one in the show is being like, oh yeah, I'm a great liar. That's not, I mean, even though some of the missions actually try to like show each other how they lie, I don't know. I think this was a tricky pick, but I do not think that Charlotte was the best pick for Mina to win the game. And I think we're seeing that play out now. I think Charlotte's dropped Mina's name in it twice. She's even started to say to Freddie, oh, you were telling me Mina, weren't you? Like, she's really pushing for it. I think Mina's days are numbered.
And at the beginning of this season, we started talking about categories of like, who will be mother, who will be this. I think we need another category of strongest recruited traitor, and I think she will hold that title for quite a long time. Like, out of anybody who's been recruited, I think she's took to the role better than anybody else I've seen.
Yeah. Oh, she's a natural, but I think she was very clearly preparing. It's clear to me that it would have been a core tenet of a strategy coming to that castle that she would want to get recruited. And so clearly she was prepared for that. She didn't have this sort of panic you see at the first breakfast, usually from the traitors who've just been recruited. And I was just like, oh, how do I act now? I forgot how to act.
Yeah.
Now, can we actually talk about all these suspicions then? And generally, let's talk about the round tables, because there's a lot going on there. I think 3 main things going on. The first one is Mina's name starts being on people's lips a little bit more. I mean, Anna mentions her, admittedly for entirely the wrong reason, the entire glass thing. But Anna mentions her. Then Alexander gets her. And Lisa, how does she does this? God's got a direct line to the castle, tells Lisa, hey, look, Linda and Mina, they're the traitors. They get Linda, but sadly, every good murder mystery needs a Prius, but not this one apparently, because she will not get to see the downfall of Mina, which I think is inevitable. I think it's really interesting. It shows that like without a backstab, I'm starting to think Mina probably wouldn't have made it to the final.
It's very interesting that the thing that she's banged to rights about so far is that all she's doing is jumping on theories. And even when she tries to deny that, it's like, yeah, she's going strong on people, like Dan and so on. But it's only ever confirming theories other people have. And that, I think Will, I think you did quite a lot of that as well in your series, right? That's maybe a pattern that we can see traitors do is... I'll be really strong on the round table, but only once I'm pretty sure that it's the right move to be making. Will, what do you think, mate?
I think Mina is playing a great game. I think one of the sort of it's always been a meta to be the one that waters the seeds, not plant it, right? But at some point when the group gets smaller, you need to start actually making some kind of suggestions because people will jump on this. So the first 6 episodes, it's easy to do that and ride and just water what everyone else is saying. But realistically, you look at what happened to Alex the other day, where he was a strong faithful, said one thing that he couldn't word it in the right way, and that was it. He was gone. So you never really know what's going to happen in the next sort of 3 episodes. Anything could happen that changes the narrative. So she's safe again. Like Charlotte might say something, someone might say something, and it just changes the whole dynamic again.
That Alex thing is fascinating because what he actually had to say was kind of interesting. He's talking about Linda after she's gone home, and he says, it's interesting because she never voted for any traitors. And then the example he gives is she never voted for Armani. And And Joe is right to be like, well, how do you know who else is a traitor? How else do you know who you never voted for? This is also the argument of why we in Series 1 never worked out the Laithful thing. Because like I was like, well, it's obvious. The last people to come into the door are always faithfuls. We didn't know that, well, apart from you, Wilf. We didn't know they were all faithful, so we couldn't make the connection. It's the same thing going on here, right? They only have evidence of Armani, therefore he can't make that jump. So Joe is absolutely right that Alex has been logically inconsistent here. It's just the way they jump on him and the way they all go, we've got him, we've got him, we've got the guy.
It was a great logic if he had enough people to, like, if there was 2 traitors that would have went and he looked at the voting patterns then, it would have sort of made sense, right?
Yeah.
But because of that, it just sort of...
It's like pressing the buzzer on the first thing in Only Connect, right? I know the connection. How can you know the connection? There's only been one thing, right? It's just, yeah.
This is a very niche reference for all the BBC Two fans out there. You're welcome.
I know you're listening.
You'll get another reference in a year's time. That's it for 2025, I'm afraid.
You was on that, wasn't you?
I was on it, yeah.
Did you buzz on the first clue?
I always buzz on the first clue, mate.
Premature buzzing. Look, but let's take this moment to bring us to actually my complaint of the night. Everyone knows it. I'm French. All national sport is complaining. I love Joe. I love Francesca, but they are playing the role of the deeply detrimental faithfuls in their game. They keep throwing names and being responsible for faithfuls voting out other faithfuls. They are single-handedly proving that you don't need to be recruited or picked by Claudia to be a traitor. They are the traitor's biggest assets. And it's so frustrating to watch. They went after Dan, especially Frankie. You know, she was very loud and outspoken against Dan. Then they went against Alex also quite clearly. And then in that last episode, they asked themselves, oh, what's keeping us here? Well, obviously, interestingly, Joe connects the dots. Francesca doesn't. Joe says, maybe they're keeping us here because we keep being really wrong about faithfuls. But Francesca is like, no, they're probably keeping us here because we're a threat now. No. Oh, this is it's killing me. It's frustrating. Somebody say something.
There's a tiny bit of main character syndrome about people having been like, well, why am I still here? And like, it's because everyone, like, to be fair, everyone is the main character of their own story. So I kind of understand it. Like, it's not that bad. But like, yeah, you're right. They are pushing hard. The thing is, what do you expect them to do? Be like, all right, well, I keep getting it wrong, so I'm not going to make any more theories anymore. It's just the sort of people they are. Like, Joe is very clearly somebody who spots something and immediately says about it. Francesca is also somebody who speaks her mind. Just because they're getting the wrong reads doesn't mean they should stop being faithful.
But it's not even reads. It's throwing random accusations because somebody did something in a challenge. Killing me.
Yeah,
it's got to a point where there's always reasons for murders and keeping people in the game, right? But we've seen in season 1 and 2, especially in season 1 and 2, where you'd keep your friends in because you get voting power around the round table, right? But that's the only thing that they're going off. They're going, oh, the only reason we're here is because there must be our friend. Must be someone that's keeping us here because we're friends. And that's not necessarily it. It's because you're getting it so wrong.
You're conveniently barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, it was very sad to see Alex go and then Leon go on such non-existent grounds. I don't know. The other sad bit was the murders. Obviously, we lost Fozio, which was devastating. But I also just want to take a minute to say goodbye to Anna. She was a bit in the background in the early episodes, but then her recruitment was really interesting. And she did something I didn't think anyone would ever dare to do again, which is refuse a recruitment. But most importantly, she did something, which is these outfits. I just wanted to take a moment to celebrate these outfits. Even the outfit she gets murdered in. Oh my God. And that's where I want my singular clap to go. Can I get a singular clap for all the charity shop workers that she single-handedly feeds, probably with her outfits on that show? She's probably responsible for at least 3 charity shops in Ireland surviving. So let me give a singular clap to Anna's stylist, which is probably Anna. Anna, thank you for your service.
There is I saw a tweet which made me laugh for about an hour. When I was at school, Wilf, you're a bit younger than me. We used to have these pencil cases and they had these designs on them, and one of my favorite designs was this groovy chick, and groovy chick was this kind of
chick.
Yeah. Do you remember groovy chick?
Yeah.
And it was from Paper Chase, and Anna dresses like groovy chick.
Listen, do you know how many messages I've got? So I'm going to confirm this for everybody who keeps messaging me. I've had it so many times saying, who styles you on the Traitors? And I was like, we take our own clothes.
In your case, Primark. I'm aware.
Mine was Primark. It was like, no logo. So I was like, Primark.
Who starts me is digging through my wardrobe being like, I don't have any clothes that don't have a logo on them. I now do because I bought them for the Traitors. Yeah. Oh, God. Anne was great. Anna was fantastic. She was such fun. Can I talk strategy for a minute? Can we do strat chat?
I don't know. Is this really the podcast for this? Yeah, of course it is. Go on.
All right. Okay. Listen. When they had the opportunity to kill into the shield. Okay, so this was the episode 8 when they did the murder doll backwards singing task, which by the way was brilliant, and I didn't need the gramophone. I could just sing it backwards from listening to it because I'm a music boy. Anyway, when they had the opportunity to kill, they decided they might kill Jake or Joe, and then also went for Lisa. In the end, they went for Lisa. They could have done something brilliant there by doing the thing that traitors shouldn't do, which is risking losing a kill by hitting the person with a shield. They could make so many theories abound. So I as always, I did a thread on Twitter about this because there's so many different possibilities and cool things that could have happened. But the most likely thing is they wouldn't hit a shielded person. Anyway, there were 5 in that group. Yeah. Only one of them had a shield. If they didn't hit somebody with a shield, then that looks like it's somebody within that group. If they do hit somebody with a shield, then how did they know he had the shield? It was probably a recruitment, or if not a recruitment, then it was somebody trying to make it look like someone in the castle. Either way, going for the shield group is a really, really bold way of sharing misinformation. And I want to see it. I want to see somebody killing into the shield. And when Charlotte said, why don't we do it? I was like, oh my God, you're so clever. You're so clever.
I like it.
And then they shied away from it, and I was furious.
They didn't use it in the next episode. It was such a wasted opportunity.
They killed our Lisa.
Oh, it was so sad. And you know what? I've been looking at the shields at the moment, and Faye from season 1, we were speaking on the phone the other day, and she went, "You had it a lot harder murdering," and I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "Well, the whole shield theory of like not telling anybody in the group.
We kept sharing the shields.
Yeah, so it was like 5 people you couldn't murder a day. So it was much harder to get the murder narrative you wanted. And we were so scared of murdering into the shield. But nowadays, I think it's quite a good thing to do. But back then, it was like we were all a bit scared of it, didn't really understand the strategy of it. But
it's a great strategy if you use it. And they did it and then didn't really use it. You know, it might come down and be helpful later down the line, but I think they might have missed that train.
Oh, missed the train? I'll have to get a replacement bus service then, won't they?
Yeah, that's how you end up in a cage, Ivan. None that you would mind.
Do you think it is time to catch up on our predictions and see who is still in the castle?
Let's see who's still in the castle.
So, Ryan, you've had a funny week because you started off with 4. You lost Linda and Fozia in episode 7, and you lost Lisa in episode 9. Your one remaining contestant, though, happens to be the one player who's most likely to win this game in Charlotte. So, Ryan, you've got 1 player left, but I don't think you're doing too bad.
What a player. That's the thing. I rate my chances. Let me tell you, I'm pretty sure I'm winning this because Charlotte is... she is strong. She's an excellent traitor. She has no suspicions on her. She's winning this. I'm afraid it's actually inevitable. She is winning this.
Interesting.
Well, realistically, if Charlotte got recruited as a traitor and you was able to look at Charlotte and your other players that you had, and you could go, I want to get rid of all of these and just keep Charlotte, you probably would have done that anyway.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wilf, you started with 4 as well. You lost Anna, murdered episode 9, and Leon banished just now, leaving you with your Freddie and Francesca, the mother and son who aren't a mother and son. How do you feel about those 2?
I'm quite happy with that. I think Freddie's got enough suspicion on him to last a bit longer. I think he's playing the game where he won't get murdered. I think he'll sell. I don't know how far he'll get, but as long as he keeps being that person who has slight suspicion, I think he'll be fine. And then with Francesca, I don't know. She just keeps getting it wrong all the time, so she's going to last a bit longer, at least.
There's 3 episodes left. That means that there's a decent chance Francesca gets to the final. If episode 10, as we're starting to feel, is the one where Charlotte turns on Mina, that leaves just 1 round table for Francesca to survive. I think you've got a good chance there with 2 players left.
Thank you.
I managed to get through this week without losing a single one of my picks. I entered the week with Mina, Joe and Leanne, and I finished the week with Mina, Joe and Leanne. However... Mina may not make the end now.
Writing's on the wall.
Joe and Leanne, interesting. I can imagine Joe making the final. I can imagine Leanne making the final. I just don't know at this point. But I don't think I'm doing as well as you, Ryan, despite having 3 times the number of players you do. And finally, undrafted, we have Jake and Alexander. Alexander has to get murdered. I mean, the last chance they have to murder Alexander. Jake, I don't know. I mean, maybe he may even be gone now. They're saying he's one of the 3 who could get murdered there. So I think those ones are more murder contention than banish contention. So undrafted might be a bit worried here.
Can I shout out Traitolytics on Twitter because they run a bunch of simulations and they give stats on the likelihood of win. Now, this is based on episode 8 only because it takes a few hours to run a simulation, so we don't actually know after tonight. But yesterday, Ivan was in the lead with 37%, and then Wilf and I were on the same level on 26.5%, leaving undrafted on 18%.
Wait, but undrafted, they call Claudia, don't they? So we should call it undrafted / Claudia.
Let's call it Claudia. Claudia's players, they're on 18%. Claudia's not doing very well.
Claude.
I'm afraid. Oh, Claudia. But yeah, no, shout out to that account. Actually, really interesting to see how we're doing in the stats. And despite that account not believing in me, let me tell you, Charlotte is winning this. We have a winner. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Anyway, can I take another moment as well? I'm actually quite sad I've wasted my singular clap.
You've taken so many moments today, hasn't he? Can I take a moment?
Can we do 2 claps this time?
Should we have a double clap?
Double clap.
A double clap then for the missions team.
Yeah.
Not because of the vote and the funeral, because already it was funny. But
the massive penis statues.
The massive
penis.
Cock.
and balls, thank you.
Yeah,
Somebody heard, oh yeah, the traitors, it's all about the peacocks. Somebody misheard, was like, no, it's all about the cocks, you mean? No, the peacocks.
Penis cocks.
All they needed was veins. That's all they needed was veins. It was perfect.
I'm sorry, they just had these massive shafts. And I just think of one moment, which is that, I don't know if you remember, but when we filmed some of these challenges, because in Scotland, you kind of have the right to roam, the right to walk anywhere. So sometimes we'd be filming a challenge in the field and some random lady would just walk past walking a dog in Scotland. Can you just imagine some random lady walking her dog in Scotland past 5 massive penises just poking out of the grass and wondering what's going on there?
Ready to go, Neil, you'll never guess what the sword of the hell.
Do you know what I think happened? They must have a missions WhatsApp group and somebody sent that meme, you know, of the guy sitting at the end of the bed. Have you seen it? Barry, have you seen it? Google Barry Big Cock and you'll see it.
I'm not Googling Barry Big Cock, mate.
It's actually one of my tabs.
They've obviously sent it and someone has gone, I'm going to make that into a mission for a laugh. And apparently they didn't know,
No, they must have. Because
somebody knew.
It's so memeable. And the cameras, they got the right angle every time. Yeah. It's like they must have gone, oh, this is unfortunate. It does look like a penis from this angle, but also this is going to get us so much publicity.
Let's film from this angle only now.
Did you see the part where one of them was holding it from the back and then one was holding it with it looking like it was going in his ass?
Holding it from the eye.
From the tip.
And he's got his mouth behind the balls. And it's so funny.
Oh, honestly, let's give a double clap then to the missions team or traitors. Well done, missions team.
Well done, Joe Evans.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
God.
I also have something I want to say, which is that I've had some really interesting conversations with people based off the back of the last few episodes. So thank you to those people. Please continue the conversation with us. Message us, talk to us. Use the comment section in our YouTube, Spotify, social media. We love it. We love it. So I was going to say, I had a really interesting message from Jude, who was talking about a comment that I said last week about that this is at base a single player game. And they went, well, yeah, but as a faithful, you share the win. So therefore it's a team game because faithfuls can only win with 2 or more. You can't win as a single faithful, right? Because if it gets down to you and a traitor in the final 2, you lose. I understand that point, but how do you get there, right? You only get there by working for yourself. You can't work with people because you don't know who your faithfuls are. Every single day is a survival game for yourself. The fact is you can turn on each other and people will turn on you, and that means it is not a team game. That's my opinion. I get your opinion. It's really interesting. But I think people who treat it as a team game, in the end, can fall down. Equally, Dan outwardly said it wasn't, and he fell down too.
The strangest thing is, the only way it can be a team game is for the traitors. That's the weirdest part of it.
But still, it's not a team game for the traitors because they can choose not. They can just choose not to do that. Like they still have their own win condition, don't they? So it's still not a team game.
Fair. Now, the last thing I want to mention then is talking about the traitors. We get some hints that something is coming down the line, and I think Ivan spotted this on Twitter, and it was a really good spot. I think we know what the twist is next week, Ivan.
Okay, they did a cutaway to a book called The Seer. And my lovely werewolf boys and girls or social deduction fans, you've played werewolf, you know what the seer is. For those who haven't, I'm not going to spoil it for you because I don't think there's any fun in that at all. That may be our first ever piece of information, confirmation-based information we've ever seen in UK Traitors, if that's the case. If not, then what it is someone in the editing team being like, I'll just give this a little nod because this is really fun. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
Well, how about we come back in a week's time to find out what the twist actually was, to debrief it, and debrief episodes 10, 11, and 12 of The Traitors.
Yippee!
The final.
That sounds good. The final's next week. In the meantime, thank you so much for listening. As always, we've been getting some really cool comments, as Ivan's mentioned. I want to shout out just Samuel on Spotify because he called this the perfect podcast for his friends and family who do not want to talk about the traitors. And to be honest, I think you just need to change family, mate.
Yeah.
Like, that's just rude.
We're your family now.
We are your family. I will not be paying alimony now. But look, if you like the podcast, tell a friend about it, tweet about it, leave a comment. We read all of them. Send us a like, 5-star review, tweet, a message, or subscribe. We really do appreciate all of your engagement with the podcast. My name is Rayan. You can follow me at Carl from the Traitors.
I was going to do that one.
You stole it. I knew you was going to do that. My name's Will. You can follow me. You can follow me.
You can do what to you? Sorry.
Follow
I don't know. You can follow on me. My name's Will. You can follow on me at Volivants.
My name's Ivan. You can follow me at Cockhenge.
And from all of us here, it's see you in a week and goodbye.
Bye, driver. Oh, watch out for the massive